Who's just in on the 2020 beat. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg has announced that he will not run for president in 2020. He will not. That doesn't mean he's going to be staying out of the race completely, of course. CNN's Christina Leshy, who's been covering Bloomberg, joins me now. Christina, what are you learning about Bloomberg's plans? Why did he make this decision?
Well, he's been stoking speculation for sure that he might throw his hat in the ring, but ultimately he came to the conclusion that it was just not a clear path to victory. And he does not want to stay silent, though. He really feels passionately that he can make a difference in this particular race. And he's going to do that, I'm hearing from sources, by putting together essentially an operation to help the eventual Democrat candidate and really push for the issues that he's been backing financially and essentially on his stump for a while now, which is more gun safety regulation, fighting climate change and issues like that. Look, this is a man who spent over $130 million during the midterm elections. So you can bet that he has plenty of money. He's worth about $46 billion to put behind such an operation. And he's really passionate about doing it. He's not going away. He wants to make a difference. And this is the way that he's chosen to do it. Again, the hurdles for him were quite high. Yes, he has an extensive track record running a very large city. Yes, he won re-election in New York 3 times, but he also was a centrist, a self-described centrist in a field of left of center Democrats who were really vocal about positions like Medicare for all, wealth taxes, something that he kind of had already dismissed. So there were questions about that too, Jake.
All right, Christina, lastly on the Bloomberg beat for us. Let's discuss this. And Bakari, I hope you won't be mad at me for betraying the fact that when I announced that Bloomberg is not running for president, you did one of these.
Yeah,
you're very excited. You obviously you want the Democrats to recapture the White House in 2020. Why are you excited about this?
There comes a certain point in time when people who have no ability to win, no pathway to the presidency, should take a step back and not do this as a vanity project. If you're going to enhance the policy or enhance the dialogue, so be it. I mean, I get that is kind of counterintuitive when somebody ran for president as a vanity project in 2016 and became president of the United States. However, I just feel as if there are people who are adding substance to that discussion. I don't think Mayor Bloomberg was one.
What do you think of this all?
Look, I think it's illustrative of where the party's going, the Democratic Party's going, right? You heard reporting right there. It says he saw that the party's lurching to the left and he's a centrist and there's no room for him in the party. So I think that's pretty telling, right? If Michael Bloomberg, if Howard Schultz is getting heckled for saying things like, hey, I don't think Medicare for all may be viable, or the Green New Deal may not be the best deal at all, and they're getting booed and shouted down, shows you that whatever the Democrats going to run, it's going to be far left of center.
Howard Schultz is running as an independent.
No, but I'm saying he's still getting booed by the Democrats.
I have to say, Jackie, I don't know how much of a centrist he is. He's very progressive on a bunch of social issues, guns, climate change, and he's more conservative on economic issues and foreign policy issues, but I don't know that that's a centrist. You know what I mean?
I mean, in this field, it might be.
Okay.
His lane, we keep on talking about lanes. It wasn't clear where he fit in. And also, it was hard to think of another, white guy being the most viable person, who's an establishment figure being the most viable person in this current, very diverse field of candidates. But I will say, I don't think this means Bloomberg's going to throw in with Trump. I think he's going to be. I think he's going. You said he doesn't fit into the Democratic Party. I think he's going to put his money into this race and into But I do think that he's going to be putting his money into Democratic races, not only on the presidential level, but around the country, as he's done, particularly on issues of.
I think he's been doing that for a while.
Yeah, on guns, on climate change. Caitlin, take a listen to this excerpt from his piece explaining his decision. Quote, I believe I would defeat Donald Trump in a general election, but I am clear-eyed about the difficulty of winning the Democratic nomination in such a crowded field. And that's really, that's the oldest story in the book.
Yeah, that's pretty much what everyone has been saying. It's interesting that he doesn't think that he could beat out those other Democrats to beat Trump. If you think you could beat Trump, you think that everyone would want you to run as a Democrat and take that nomination. I think the president will take this with welcome news. He's been asking people in recent weeks if they thought Bloomberg was going to run, and now he'll be able to focus all of his time on whether the other B is going to run.
Bloomberg also describes what kind of candidate he thinks could win. Yeah. Quote, I've run for office 3 times and won each time in no small part because I've never stuck my finger in the wind to decide what I should believe. It's not who I am, nor do I think it's what voters want in a leader. They want someone who levels with them even when they disagree and who is capable of offering practical, sensible, and ambitious ideas and of solving problems and delivering results. Does that describe anybody to you, Bakari? Do you hear any Democrats that you think are being candid with voters?
Well, I think that people are now understanding that Donald Trump has ushered in this new wave of being unashamed of who you are, being unabashed, taking away all the political norms and just saying, be as honest with the voters as you possibly can be. I think you see, for example, there was a recent article about Kamala Harris on the campaign trail. I believe it was in Politico. And one of the things it described was how she was so warm with individuals and how she was endearing and kind of sharing personal stories. I think that that is something that you can be proud of. Even Bernie Sanders, who I'm very critical of, no one can say around this table or anywhere else that the Bernie Sanders you see on the campaign trail is not Bernie Sanders.
No, he's very authentic.
He is a very authentic person. I think that's what draws a lot of young people to him. So I think that you see that, and then you have Uncle Joe, who, you know, whether or not you like his policies or hate his policies, he's this endearing political figure. And so you have those three individuals. I think at the end of the day, it will probably be those three individuals plus Beto O'Rourke who are showing that type of sentiment.